everybody! This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. So much awesome patriotic racing to cover out at the Naval Base Coronado. We have 2 episodes. Interview with driver from the truck race, Nathan Nicholson. Recap of that race, and ARCA from Berlin Raceway on the first episode we posted earlier this week. On this one, we'll cover all the action from the O'Reilly and Cup Series side of things, and boy, would there be a lot. Manhole covers, fan, jumping on the track, big wrecks are just the tip of the iceberg. O'Reilly Series would be ready to roll on Saturday. Would one of the young guns of Brent Crews, Taylor Gray, Carson Kvapil, Austin Green strike? Or would a veteran of Austin Hill or Justin Allgaier take that one? Then on to the one everyone's been waiting for, the NASCAR Cup Series race from Naval Base Coronado. All eyes would be on Shane Van Gisbergen and his rookie teammate of Connor Zilisch. Could anyone in the field top one of those guys? Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave, NASCAR history time, paint scheme of the week, interview with O'Reilly Series driver Sheldon Creed, who is just racing out in San Diego. What will he have to say about the on-track invader? That and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the O'Reilly Series recap. O'Reilly Series will be ready to go Saturday afternoon out in San Diego. After qualifying, Brent Crews would be the fastest and win the pole. Him and Parker Redsloff take the field to green. Crews clears and leads. Yellow on the second lap as Corey Day has a manhole cover go into his radiator. Yes, you heard that right. More on that in DWD. After a long red flag to check all the manhole covers, literally, Crews and Redsloff restart. Crews to the front spot. Crews elects to flip the stage towards the end of stage 1. Austin Hill takes the lead and wins the first stage. Parker Redsloff finishes in second behind Hill. Austin Hill and Carson Kvapil restart for the middle stage. Hill clears and leads. Yellow flag flies on lap 23 as LeVar Scott loses power. Taylor Gray and Parker Redsloff restart with 4 laps to go in the second stage. Gray clears and leads. Taylor Gray goes on to win stage 2. Great battle between him and Redsloff to close out that stage. Gray and again Redsloff restart, but the yellow flies shortly after. Corey Day and Dean Thompson make contact. Redsloff and Gray restart. Massive wreck on the restart. Sam Mayer hits the wall, triggering a wreck, collecting 18 others. Just wild. After another long red flag, nearly 45 minutes for all the cleanup, during this red flag, and as I mentioned in the intro, a fan would climb multiple fences, get onto the track, talk to Sheldon Creed, go up to his car, run back over the fences before he was apprehended. More on that on discussions with Dave and our chat with Sheldon. Again, Redsloff and Gray restart the field back to green. Parker leads, but is overtaken by Carson Kvapil 2 laps later. Yellow flies on lap 41 for Leland Honeyman spinning, and again 10 laps later as Jesse Iwuji goes off track. Carson Kvapil and Taylor Gray restart with just 7 laps to go. Kvapil clears and starts to pull away. 3 to go. Gray gets within 2 car lengths of Carson. Could he make the pass? 2 laps to go. In turn 12B, the pair make contact. Kvapil falls the 4th. Now Gray leads, but Austin Hill is hot on his tails. Final lap, Hill passes Gray for the lead in turn 3, and Austin Hill pulls away to victory lane, putting the Richard Childress Racing 21 car back into victory lane. A much needed win for that team, even though it is on the O'Reilly side. Nonetheless, great for RCR. So happy for them and their people to be back in victory lane with everything they've gone through the last month or so. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, we've had this question on the show before, but with celebrating the country's 250th, have a patriotic spin to it. Who won the first NASCAR race on the beaches of Daytona in 1948? Answer coming at the end. Now for the Cup Series recap. Cup Series would be ready to go the 75-lap distance, this time for the first time ever on a military installation. The Navy would be showing up. Several of the ships, aircraft carrier would be right alongside the track. It was awesome. After qualifying in what he called not his best lap, SVG would win the pole. Him and Carson Kvapil would take the field to green. SVG clears and leads early until lap 4 when Ryan Blaney passes him for the top spot. Blaney pits on lap 10, handing the lead to Bubba Wallace, but Shane makes quick work of Bubba, leading again. First yellow flies 2 laps later as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. comes to a stop. During the yellow, Christopher Bell is taken out of the car and is replaced by Brent Crews. SVG leads on the restart, but a lap later is again passed by Blaney. Shane, a lap later, then pits. With 2 to go in the stage, Bubba Wallace has a loose wheel come off, bringing out the yellow again. Blaney is still leading. Stage 1 ends under yellow and is won by Ryan Blaney. Ryan Preece and Connor Zilisch restart for the middle stage. Yellow flies on lap 30 as the 20 car, now driven by Brent Crews, has the engine expire. Then a big one would occur on the following restart. Zilisch and Austin Hill restart with Shane behind them. SVG makes it 3 wide and Austin goes wide entering turn 1, hitting Shane, collecting Zilisch and 8 others. SVG and Zilisch are out of the race and out of contention. Wow. Riley Herbst and Kyle Larson restart. Zane Smith, along with Larson and Herbst, would each take turns leading. Larson pits on lap 38, handing the lead back to Herbst with 2 to go in the stage. On that same lap, Kevin Magnuson and Noah Gragson tangle and Noah is spun. 2 laps left in the middle stage. Ryan Preece is able to get past Herbst for the lead. Ryan Preece wins stage 2. After a yellow, 1 lap in for debris, again Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece restart. 5 laps later, Kyle Larson takes over at the lead. Corey Heim in the 67 would start to get close to Larson. The both of them pit with 16 laps to go. The next lap, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes off track, bringing out the yellow. Carson Kvapil and Kyle Larson restart, but Tyler Reddick is able to pass both of them and now leads. Corey Heim is up to second. After several laps of hounding Reddick, Corey Heim is able to make the pass for the lead with 2 laps to go. Heim is able to hold off Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace, and Corey Heim wins his first ever Cup Series race out in the streets of San Diego at the Naval Base. And it was Heim time. Truly an exciting finish for the young driver. More on that on Discussions with Dave. Quick look back at the predictions we made, and after getting the ARCA race and the trucks correct, I did not do well the rest of the going. O'Reilly, I went with Brent Crews. He finishes 31st. Cup, I went with SVG. He gets caught up in that wreck with Hill and Zilisch. Shane finishes 38th. Yellow flag, green flag. Yellow flag, O'Reilly. No wrongdoing, but yellow flag to the manhole covers that went into Corey Day's radiator. Green flag O'Reilly. Gotta give it to RCR. Their first win at either O'Reilly or Cup since the passing of Kyle. Good for them. Yellow flag Cup. Tough day for Trackhouse, as we were just saying. Two of their top cars, Zilich and SVG, get caught in that tight squeeze early. Green flag Cup. Heim time rang true in San Diego. We have talked so much how dominant Corey Heim is, and when he gets to the Cup level, how long is it going to take him to get a win? Corey Heim's not even on a full-time schedule in 2026. He goes out, shows people that he's the real deal, and wins at the Cup level. No learning curve for Corey. He gets it done. Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Pros and cons of San Diego. One thing that San Diego did create was truly exciting finishes. Yes, it might have not seen that on the Cup side, specifically last lap pass like we saw in the Trucks and O'Reilly series, but I thought the racing that was there was exciting. If you were a driver, you did not want to be in the middle of that pack. That seemed like a true hornet's nest going through those really tight turns and like those S's. Some of the spots of the track were just not ideal for making passes, and it was truly single file at times, which was a little bit of a con, but the elevation change, and you'll hear Sheldon Creed go over that more, and I don't think the elevation change was as expected as it came into play. You saw cars and trucks literally catching air off this one, very, minute, I don't know, like all four tires were in the air. That was pretty cool. Yes, they're not jumping anything like the Dukes of Hazzard, right? But for a split second, all four tires were off the ground. That was really neat. As a fan, I never thought I would see that in NASCAR, besides when they're wrecking. And I don't know if this is a pro, but as a race fan, the multiple surfaces that they were running throughout this nearly 3.5 mile street course on this naval base, concrete, asphalt. At one point, they literally race right next to train tracks that they used to load the aircraft carrier. Now, turning towards the cons of the track, the first one, and anytime you go to a track or road course like that for the first time, there's going to be growing pains, just like we saw Bristol Dirt, just like we saw in the Chicago street race. When there were wrecks in San Diego, moving the concrete barriers in place just took a lot of time. That truck race, and I am a huge proponent and fan of the Truck Series. And as a fan, I love a long race, being there in person, watching it on TV. But after it got past 10 o'clock with those late restarts, yes, I'm watching it on the East Coast, really had to force the eyes to stay open, was getting kind of tired after a long week. Then, of course, there's the multiple red flags in the O'Reilly series. Then looking at the Cup side of things, some of the narrow spots, unfortunately, paid the price and took out some really good cars at the front between Zilich and Van Gisbergen. But that's racing. And then there's the opportunity for someone like Corey Heim to take it and put his name on it. And yes, of course, there is a whole lot of logistics with shutting down one of the biggest naval air bases for a weekend for a car race and truck race, right? I really hope that NASCAR returns to San Diego. And just like Ben Kennedy said, NASCAR is going to break everything down in all their post-event activities that they do to assess these things. I really hope NASCAR comes back to Naval Base Coronado for 2027. There's rumors, thoughts that having that race on 4th of July weekend next year would be a good idea. I am 100% behind that. I think that would be awesome. Specifically comparing first year of Chicago streets, which can be a little bit unfair because there was a good amount of rain that first year when SVG won in 2023. But maybe as just being a guy in the aircraft carriers, the planes, the jets, I'll say year one San Diego street course was better than Chicago street course. If you're going to choose sides between the two, I really hope, like I said, that NASCAR returns to Naval Base Coronado in 2027. Next topic, tire wear in San Diego. That, along with the track and a lot of things, so many unknowns for this track. Corey Heim came on Denny Hamlin's podcast after the race, and when Corey is running a cup race, supposedly he will call Denny and say, what do you think of this corner? How are you running your tires on this? And just pick his mind about the upcoming track. Heim admitted going into San Diego, he did not call Denny or rely on the knowledge at all because Denny's never been there, just like Corey. I thought that was interesting, and the guys were chuckling about that on Hamlin's podcast. But just so many unknowns, and one of those was the tire wear. As you heard from our conversation earlier in the week with Nathan Nicholson, who ran the Truck Series, he said about 8 to 10 laps, you really could feel those tires, and that drive off, he was just losing and affecting him in the braking zones as well. And you'll hear that from Sheldon Creed as we bring him on later in this show. And SVG was saying it from the get-go, tires were going to be a premium in San Diego. And the track and the racing definitely proved that. Moving right along in DWD, we did see Saturday Austin Hill victorious in O'Reilly. The next day, Cup Series, when the wreck just happened, a lot of people, Zilich, SVG, pointed the finger at Hill. And that can be, if you're a regular of the sport, Austin Hill has throughout his career known as sometimes being a little, reckless of a driver and making brash decisions and being aggressive. And that's what he's paid to do, be a race car driver, right? And a lot of people were pointing the finger right at Austin with him and SVG making contact in that tight corner. And Hill's trying to get to the front of this race. It's almost really that SVG put Hill into the wall, and I'm sure, I am not the person to make speculations, as I am not a race car driver myself. I just like to talk about them. I'm sure Shane did leave Austin, just enough room. But Austin's in this situation. He doesn't want to be in this situation in the grand scheme of things, right? And I don't know if Shane overdrove it or if Austin overdrove it. Shane was, we saw him early get passed by Blaney. So that car on the long run was not it. Obviously not saying the crash was one specific driver's fault with all these unknowns and both of these guys trying to push it at the front of this one. It's really a combination between Hill and SVG. I just think there's more finger pointing at Austin Hill, and it's the wreck was more on both of the guys. I think they're equal to blame than some are pointing at, directly Austin Hill for causing it. And I think Shane had a little bit more to do than some think. In the first episode, we spoke about the post-race Truck Series argument between Adam Andretti and Parker Kligerman. There was even a more fiery one after the Cup Series race. And that happened between Kevin Magnussen, F1 veteran, over 150 races in Formula One. Kevin came in on this one on a one-off with Project 91 with Trackhouse Racing. Him and Noah Gragson were, for a number of laps, going after it. And Kevin, in the end, on track, gets the last laugh and ends Noah's day. And yes, a guy coming into the sport, a series he hasn't raced in before, was he maybe being a little bit too aggressive for some of the regulars? Yes, he was. I have, truthfully, I've heard the name Kevin Magnussen. I knew he's a little bit more of a cheeky guy. I guess he this isn't the first run-in between drivers, if it's Formula One or now between Noah Gragson, that he's butting heads with these guys, and he speaks his mind. And you kind of have to respect someone that's not trying to cover, just going to be straightforward and honest with you how he feels. And post-race, the two are talking over and over again, and it was just going nowhere. Noah was kind of being more stubborn with it and kept saying, "Why did you wreck me? What's your effing problem? What's your effing problem?" I mean, if you ask the same dumb question over and over again, what are you going to get? And Magnussen said to Noah over and over again, F off, mate. And then it got to a point where Magnussen goes to Gragson, "Do you understand English? Do you understand what F off means?" And Noah's people eventually said, "Hey, this isn't going anywhere. This isn't going to end well." And Gragson openly admitted that he wanted to punch Magnussen. That would have not done Noah any good, in my opinion. Especially, I kind of think Magnussen was maybe being a little bit of the pest and kind of knew that he ticked off Noah Gragson. But if you look at the tail of the tape, who had the fastest lap at Naval Base Coronado? It was the ex-F1 driver, Kevin Magnussen. He goes on to finish in the 20s. But he got the fastest lap in an unknown race where tire wear, people don't know what's going on, in an unfamiliar car on a brand new track. He gets the top lap time. And we're all well aware that these Project 91 deals are 100% one-offs. We might never see Magnussen ever in a NASCAR race again. I hope that's what I just said isn't true, and I hope we see him back in a cup seat soon. Mainly, half of me wants to see if Gragson would wreck him. But he was a talent. He was exciting to watch. Definitely had my eyes focused on him in the 91. One more topic left, DWD Part 1, and that's time showing up early in the Cup Series. We have mentioned earlier this year on the show Tyler Reddick on his hot streak, winning the first 3 races, and then 2 more pretty close to that. Corey Heim has been given a lot of praise from Reddick and others at 2311, as Corey Heim right now is their sim driver. He's their development driver. As we know, he's on I believe it's a 10 or 12 race Cup Series schedule, along with the truck stuff he's still running. As an avid fan, knowing the circumstances, I was not surprised at all seeing Corey run up at that race and get the win. I was more truthfully excited for the moment. Corey Heim, in my opinion, I'll say it right now, at some point in his career, he's going to win a Cup Series championship. How dominant he is in the trucks. And it's not like, intermediate tracks, he's lights out. And saw him last year in person at Lime Rock, green to checkered. Guy's dominant on the road course. He's good at multiple disciplines, and he did not miss a step from going to the trucks to the Cup Series. Of course, we'll keep talking upon this as we move forward and into next year, which will be Heim's first full-time Cup Series season, right? But it's Heim time, and we're living in it. Now for Paint Scheme of the Week, Part 2. The Patriotic red, white, and blue paint scheme on the 21 for Austin Hill that went to victory lane in the O'Reilly Series out in San Diego was a tough car, but just sharp with that white background. American themed, was sharp but tough. I really liked it. And that's this episode's paint scheme of the week. Now for NASCAR history time. Sonoma. June 9th, 1991. A dramatic and controversial finish unfolded when Mark Martin and Tommy Kendall were battling for the lead before Kendall's tire failure collected Martin and took both contenders out of the race. That opened the door for Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd to fight for the win. On the closing laps, Rudd made contact with Allison in turn 11, spinning him out before taking the lead and crossing the finish line first. However, the story did not end there. Nearly 24 hours later, NASCAR issued Rudd a black flag 5-second penalty for the contact, handing the victory to Allison, who had recovered from the spin and finished just 4.5 seconds behind Allison. The ruling cemented one of the most debated finishes in NASCAR road course history. May 7th, 1995. A heads-up moment made all the late difference as Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin battled for the lead with just a few laps remaining. Sensing trouble, Earnhardt believed he smelled oil on the track and adjusted his line to avoid it on the next lap. Martin did not. He stayed committed to the groove and drove straight through the slick surface, getting his car loose. That split-second decision opened the door for Dale to make the pass and drive away with the win, showcasing his instincts and awareness that defined the Intimidator through and through. As a race fan, I think that's a really cool one to go over with. I know both of those in years past I've gone over, but that one from 99-95 out in Sonoma with Dale always makes me going as a race fan. Now we bring on our guest driver of the episode, and that's none other than O'Reilly Series driver Sheldon Creed. As mentioned in the intro, during one of the red flags, Sheldon had a fan run onto the track and go up to his car. Here's what Sheldon had to say about that and so much more. Next guest we bring back on the Splash of Gas is driver of the NASCAR O'Reilly Series in the 00 Chevy for Haas Factory Team, none other than Sheldon Creed. Thanks for joining the show again, Sheldon.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Since we last spoke after Vegas earlier this year, you've been on a tear. Of course, you get the win in Atlanta, but that 9-race stretch from Phoenix to Texas, all of them you finish inside the top 10, including 5 top 5s. How have you and this 00 team been able to find consistency and execute week in and week out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just kind of working hard at it and kind of doing our due diligence on setup and what I've liked and what we've learned every week on what to do and what not to do. You know, we've had some weeks where I feel like our race car is driven really good, and we've had some weeks that that doesn't drive very good and still can run, 7th to 10th. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's gone great or easy every week. We've just done a good job on getting it to drive better and better. And on the weeks that we do kind of miss it firing off, we can kind of get okay or get good enough. So, yeah, just a lot of hard work with everyone that works on the 00 team and everyone back at the shop at Haas Factory Team.
Gotcha. Sounds like everyone is really working hard and staying focused, just like you said. Before we get into more of this year's racing, the week leading up to the Coke 600, typically fans and drivers have circled. Unfortunately, there's an unexpected passing of Kyle Busch. You raced against him in the Truck Series. Was there anything that you took away from racing against Kyle?
I mean, yeah, obviously very good when he would come down and race the truck, and I just felt like when he raced the truck, he would make it look slow motion compared to, how I felt, or obviously I was still, learning a lot and younger when I got to race against him, but he just, was never in a hurry. He could always get himself to the lead, or even when he wasn't happy with it, he could just be good. So always a lot to learn from Kyle, and I just feel extremely sad for his wife and kids and the whole family.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you touching upon that. Getting to the recent action, the Charlotte race was definitely a strange one with the weather and the way it ended. And unfortunately, you get caught in that accident early in that one. You rebound the following weekend, P15th at Nashville. A couple weeks, you're P18 in Dover. Both concrete tracks and both completely different tracks. Besides that, they're both concrete. Anything that you and your team was finding out with the tires at both of those, and to expand the notebooks for next year for each Dover and Nashville, if you guys go back there?
No, I don't know. We just weren't good.
I got it.
We were just, we missed it, and just you have those days that are not fun sometimes, and we had those back-to-back weeks.
Appreciate the honesty. Was just curious. Following race was in Pocono 2 weekends ago. You qualify 16th, P6 in stage 1, and P11 in the middle one, bringing it home 5th. Several wrecks to navigate. How were you able to get up to the top 5 and in the end finish 5th?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the beginning of the day in practice, I thought our long run speed in practice was really good. I thought our short run speed was okay as well. And then that was a new right side tire for us. So a lot of learning going on there. And I felt like in practice, nobody was real happy. Like I was really tight in practice, but somehow had speed. And then when I qualified, I was super loose. And just didn't really know why or what. And then starting the race, it was different again. So that new tire just kind of sent everyone for a loop there. But I felt like my race car was okay. I felt like you could be on either side of it really easy. Like you could be really loose at times, and then you could be really tight at times. And I feel like if you ask a lot of the field, they probably have a similar comment, just because none of us have ran on that tire, and it just kind of threw us all for a loop there. But it was nice to kind of rebound after, like you said, just a tough month of May for us.
That can totally happen with new tires, and hopefully that expands the notebook just with more familiarity for all the teams. But I really do appreciate those specifics on that one. Getting into San Diego this past weekend, obviously a lot of preparation on many fronts for this race to put it together. First time for every driver last weekend on the track. How did you prepare specifically for San Diego, just with kind of knowing the track layout and with it being on sim?
I mean, just tried to pound as many laps as I could on iRacing, and as well as our Chevrolet sim. So I really don't. There was some other things you could look at, like there was some overview kind of like photos and maps to kind of look at, but mostly just trying to get laps and seeing the place, and then obviously getting there and being able to run some laps in practice. It was quite a bit different. Like I felt like iRacing and the simulators did a really good job for like the views, and what the track looks like was pretty much identical, but the grip level once we got there was quite a bit less than I think everyone anticipated.
Got it. Heard that from several people throughout the weekend. Before we get into the specific or more on track action, what was like the experience for you once you got on the naval base? Seemed pretty neat.
It was awesome. It was the coolest NASCAR event ever, I think, in my opinion. Obviously, I might be biased just because I'm from San Diego, and it was super cool to race at home. But it was incredible. The whole event, I thought, between the Naval Base and Coronado and NASCAR, like, I don't know if they could have done a better job at a one go at it, or their first go at it.
Yeah, it was really awesome, and I was not expecting to see the pictures of the cars being off all four tires. That was really neat to see. You do mention the loss of grip or lack of grip early. I mean, you do see a lot of guys hit the wall in practice and qualifying. Your P7th in qualifying, track layout, 16 turns from the track walk. I mean, and into the P and Q. I mean, did you learn anything from the car, the tires, the track?
I mean, yeah, like, just walking the track, you can kind of see the bumps here and there, and you'd be like, oh, you don't think that's as bad. And then once you get in the race car and you're going, 130 mile an hour, 150 in some areas over the bumps, then they're a much bigger deal. So that was, yeah, fun to navigate. Honestly, didn't play with my race car much. Like, kind of struggled with rear grip all weekend, but yeah, I was kind of able to make it work and be, pretty quick. So I just thought it was a lot of fun. All the asphalt was really rough, but it had okay grip. And then a lot of the concrete was smoother, but like a lot less grip than the asphalt. So that made it pretty challenging. And honestly, there was a couple of sections with the concrete that was kind of rough as well. So yeah, just the whole track was really hard, and for whatever reason, that made it really fun.
Yeah, it was definitely different seeing a track with multiple surfaces like that, but made for good viewing as well. Your P7 in the first stage and pit towards the end of stage two, and then start stage three. There's that long red flag. You had a special visitor climb the fence, and then he came to your car and said hi. I was laughing watching it on TV. Sounded like he was having a good time for sure. Did you understand anything he was saying? What was going through your mind when that was going on?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was laughing the whole time. I forget now what I think he just said. What's up when he first came up and gave me knuckles, and then I asked him what my damage looked like, because we had just gotten damage in that turn one crash, and it kind of got the left side of my car. And yeah, we didn't have any photos of it, so I was just trying to get an idea. And then he didn't really give me good info. He just said bad, so I was like, okay, that doesn't really help me. And then it was hard to hear what else he was saying, because my spotter was kind of talking to me, like, and then he was talking, so I couldn't really make out what he was saying. And then my spotter was like, hey, they're headed your way. You better tell them to, like, jump away and go run away. Like, he's going to be in trouble. So, yeah, I just told him, like, I'm like, hey, you probably want to go back over the fence before they get you. And then he ripped back up the fence, and I was laughing. I thought the whole thing was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was hysterical. I mean, total NASCAR move. A guy having a good time. Don't blame him. Obviously he did get caught up there. But at least you tried to help him out there. Tell him to at least get a head start. But no, I just thought that was hysterical, and I'm glad that you had fun with it. Hope everything worked out for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that they released him not too long after, and yeah, hopefully just a little slap on the wrist.
Yeah, for sure. You were towards the front in the closing laps. Gray and Kvapil made contact in front of you. You finished third behind Hill and Gray. What did you see there, and how would you sum up your race in San Diego?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the one in the 54 kind of drove away from the 21 and I, and me and a 21 were, I felt like super even. Like I thought I was maybe a little bit better from turn like 1 to 8, and then I thought from like 9 to 16 he was better. He was just better in the concrete than I was. Just had a little bit more rear grip, it looked like. But like when we were even, it was okay because I could kind of catch him, and then he kind of pull me, and I kind of seen that we were catching the one in the 54. So I didn't want to get us racing. Like I maybe had a couple opportunities to get next to him, but I'm like, oh, Bertus, you slow down like half a second to a second if you got next to somebody, especially in the wrong section. So I was just trying to like keep us racing and kind of get us to them. And yeah, about right when we got there and the one and the 54 got into it, I was out of rear tires, and it made it so hard to stay close enough on exit to be able to pounce on, corner entry and some of the brake zones. And yeah, the 21 was just able to catch the 54 and kind of get away. And then I caught the 54 right at the end of the last lap there. And yeah, I wouldn't say ran out of time. I just kind of ran out of tire. And the 21 just must have done a really good job saving tires, or I just kind of felt like he had more drive than me all weekend, really. Just that's something that we struggle with. So overall, yeah, I wanted to win really bad, just being from here and hometown crowd and everything. But yeah, I was still happy to have a good run, and just thought it was an extremely cool race.
That it was. Appreciate all those details, and not the only one to say that they were out of tires and at the end of the race. So appreciate you going over that. And looking towards this upcoming weekend, series stays in your home state of California, racing out in Sonoma, wine country. What's it like there? I mean, as a driver, having back-to-back road course races, and then in Sonoma, 3 previous starts, you finished 11th, 2nd, and 10th last year. Seems like you have a good amount of confidence going into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this place is always kind of different and tough. I feel like it's very car dependent sometimes, all the time maybe. It just has to have the right amount of grip to go fast. Like you said, I run 10th, 11th, and 2nd, and when I run 2nd, I thought my car drove pretty good, and I feel like the other 2 times we've raced here, it's kind of, you're just trying to keep the tires on it without blistering or wearing them out. So hopefully we're on the better end of it this weekend, and then can actually push the whole run and go race.
Got it. Appreciate that insight, and it's pretty neat that with the 2 back-to-back road course races on the schedule. And don't mean to put you on the spot with the next question, but I would assume every driver's goal in NASCAR and the lower series is to get the cup. At the end of the 2027 season, there is multiple seats that contract-wise are going to be available. I mean, is that your goal as a driver, or when it comes to talking about silly season, and you obviously have a long resume on the NASCAR side of things, where do you kind of have your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously would love to go cup racing and be competitive and be good at it for numerous years. But yeah, there's just a lot of us right now, and kind of where do you go? Where do you want to go? Where do teams kind of trade drivers around? Like there's just a lot of younger people that have a lot of time left. So yeah, it's tough business right now to even get in a cup ride, but that is always the goal. And I think just keep being consistent like I've been this year. I need to win some more, and I think I could definitely be in the conversation.
Got to focus on what you can handle, but really do appreciate you answering that one. And last question, you're currently sit 4th in the O'Reilly standings. Crazy to think that there's only 6 races left in the regular season before the chase starts. You're 4th, as we just said. How are you feeling getting ready to run for a championship this year in the chase?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the best regular season I've had, especially start of a year. So I feel pretty good, honestly. I think we have a couple little things to work on and get figured out before the chase starts. But I think we also have, 6 or 7 weeks to kind of really get dialed in. And I don't even think we've bought our best cars yet. So a lot to look forward to, I think, towards the end of the summer.
Got it. Wow. That appreciate that insight. And you guys, Sam has had a little bit of the bad luck recently, but both you guys with Haas Factory, I think both those cars can make long runs in the chase. And appreciate where you guys are and how you're feeling. And again, always appreciate your time, Sheldon. Hope to have you on again throughout the chase. And we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Great to catch up with Sheldon. Hearing his insight about that guy that ran on the track was surely hysterical. Now, discussions with Dave, part 2. O'Reilly thoughts, manhole covers, and crazy fans. When NASCAR started dabbling into street racing with Chicago in 2023, one of the things that they had to do was weld the manhole cover shut. As a race fan, that's pretty cool, when you're driving day in, day out as a commuter and throughout town, you never think of manholes shooting up, but then 40 NASCARs going down the street, that might happen, so they weld them shut. Unfortunately, one of them came loose early in the O'Reilly race and damaged the front of Corey Day's car, and obviously, the covers didn't pop up in the truck series, so with that much force and stress on the actual roads, of course, things can break, just like anything. And fortunately for Day, that did happen, and I don't know, not that it's, a first world problem with a manhole cover going in your race car, right? It's something that might happen to, you or me, or hit a pothole, your tire goes out, right? It's, kind of made it truly feel like a street race. And then it had that 100% NASCAR feel with the long red flag, and a fan runs out into the track and tries to talk to Sheldon Creed as Sheldon was just covering. And that's one of the reasons NASCAR 10 out of 10 should return to San Diego. Next topic, we're covering on DWD, looking towards Sonoma, which starts the 5-race bracket knockout style tournament that NASCAR started last year. And as I said, going into it, March Madness knockout style, head to head, obviously every driver's racing week in, week out, even if they're eliminated in this bracket competition, right? It did get pretty exciting. We saw a huge upset. Ty Dillon, the 32 seed, knocks out Denny Hamlin in week 1. And what are we going to see this year? So the 5 races that make up the bracket challenge, Sonoma, Chicagoland, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, and Indy. Like I just said, 2025, going into it, I didn't see the hype. Leaving it, I was hyped. And this year, I'm very excited for it. I've actually kind of been counting down the races until we get to this. This is going to be a great, exciting 5-race stretch, and the drivers have fun with it. There's already trash talk videos going on between the drivers, and it's funny. It's good for the fans, too. We like that. Now let's look at all the matchups for race 1 of this. 1 through 32 seeds, making up 16 matchups. Reddick, Alex Bowman. I'm saying another 32 seed upsets the 1 seed. Bowman, yes, a tough season with his illness at the beginning of this year, but Alex has won at road courses before. Yes, Reddick, top dog for this season, as we know, but I'm calling another upset. Why not? 16, 17, Cedric Keselowski, give me Brad. 8-25, Suarez versus Gilliland. Gotta go with Daniel on this one. Carson Hocevar, Up against the 38 of Zane Smith, give me Hurricane. Chase Briscoe, AJ Allmendinger. This one, I think, is going to be one of the more closer battles. Each guy has shown out. AJ more than Chase, right? But, hey, give me the dinger on the road course to outduel Briscoe, or outfinish Briscoe. Ty Gibbs versus Austin Dillon. I think Ty's going to have the edge in that JGR 54. Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell. Bubba just finished second in San Diego, but with how good of a road course racer he's been throughout his career, just can't bet against McDowell on this one, in my opinion. Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson. Just with how good of a road course driver Chase is, I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Noah. Denny Hamlin, Ty Dillon. Same matchup we saw in the 1 and 32 matchup. I think Denny edges out Ty in this year. Eric Jones, Joey Logano. Give me Eric Jones. As crazy as that sounds, Joey's been kind of swimming upstream in that 22 Penske this year, and Eric's been showing out those recent top finishes. Chris Buescher, John Hunter Nemechek. I'm staying on that legacy bandwagon right now. Give me Nemechek. Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain. That Trackhouse is going to bring a great road course car for Ross. So this battle is going to be closer than people think. In the end, give me Bell though. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., William Byron. I want Ricky to win. But if I'm being realistic, Byron in that 24, think they're going to have, definitely going to have the foothold on the one-car team of Hayek there. Give me Byron. Kyle Larson, Riley Herbst. Saw both of these guys battling up front in San Diego. Give me Larson. SVG, Ryan Preece. We know Ryan Preece is not afraid to get his hands dirty, and both of these guys were, hitting each other, bumping and banging, just in San Diego. Give me SVG, though. Ryan Blaney, Josh Berry, Team Penske Alliance there with Wood Brothers and Berry. Gotta go with Ryan on this one. And that wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now the drivers to look out for Sonoma, starting with ARCA West. Robbie Keneally in that 1, California native. Eric Johnson Jr., have had him on the show in past years. Really hope that Eric has a good run there. Haley Deegan, Mason Massey, those McNally Higgleman 16 and 19 cars are typically contending. See Dr. Patrick Staropoli in this one Friday night out in wine country. Can that added seat time help him on the O'Reilly side? We'll be looking for him in the 20. Trevor Huddleston, a show out on the ARCA Series West Tour. Believe he's top of those point standings right now. Rhode Island native Tyler Tomasi, who we typically see run part-time in the Truck Series, hopping in an ARCA for some road action. And not to confuse anybody, but yes, there is a Dave Smith in this race, and also a David Smith. Now, the drivers to look out for: O'Reilly Series, a road course ringer throughout the trucks and O'Reilly for a number of years, Canadian Alex LeBay. Sheldon Creed, guy we were just talking to, third in San Diego. What can he do staying in his home state of California? Connor Zilic in the 1. That's who won in Sonoma last year. 100% of a favorite right now. Justin Allgaier in the 7. Alongside JGR teammate Sammy Smith. And, same team as Zilic. And those guys are going to be showing out for sure. Brent Crews, number 19. Think he's going to be leading that Joe Gibbs charge. And Austin Hill, just fresh off that win in San Diego. Going back-to-back is totally in the cards for Austin. I think that's realistic. Ross Chastain will be running in Jordan Anderson racing equipment. What can he do in that? Top 5 is realistic for Ross. I know his ego is hurt a little bit after the wreck in San Diego, but Sam Mayer, teammate of Sheldon Creed. We've seen Sam win road courses before in this series. Austin Green in the 87. We've seen Austin last year. He was second at the Roval. And Carson Kvapil and Parker Redslow, two other guys I will be looking out for. Now, drivers to look out for: Sonoma Cup Series. The top dog, you know him. He won there last year. SVG. Now we'll take a Team Toyota pit stop. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs. All going to be fast Toyotas. I would say Corey Hine, but as we know, he's running part-time and not in this one. Other top Chevys along with SVG, Elliott, McDowell, Byron, of course. I know he did trigger the start of that wreck that took out Zilich and SVG, but Kyle Busch in that same equipment that Hill's running in finished 10th in Sonoma last year. Hill, we just saw win the O'Reilly race in San Diego. Can Austin get a top 10? I sure think so. Also, can't forget about SVG's rookie teammate, Connor Zilich. And then the road course ringer, the Dinger, AJ Allmendinger. Couple Fords we can't forget about too: Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece, and Ryan Blaney. Now for Fast Davies bets. O'Reilly odds weren't up yet, but I was just talking about them on the drivers to look out for a Cup Series. Austin Hill, top 10 finish is plus 330. I think that's a good one. Coming to the end of this week's episode, and that means it's time for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, we've had this question on the show before, but with celebrating the country its 250th, put a patriotic spin onto this one. Who won the first NASCAR Series race on the beaches of Daytona in 1948? The answer is Red Byron won in a Ford. Byron, wounded in World War II, drove with a special brace attached to the clutch pedal to assist his injured leg in shifting, making his accomplishment even more impressive. That injury, unfortunately, contributed to Byron's relatively short racing career, but he was involved in motorsports up until his passing. Now, predictions for the weekend. ARCA from Elko did the drivers to look out for that one in episode 1 this week. I'm staying on the Reeves train. Max Reeves, give me him the win in Elko. ARCA Series West, that should be a good one. Give me Mason Massey in the 19 to win that one. Now, O'Reilly predictions. Give me the number 2, Jesse Love. Think RCR can go back-to-back for that team in the road course wins after his teammate Austin Hill won in San Diego. Now, Cup Series in Sonoma. Everybody's amigo. He's been proving people wrong this year, coming to Spire. Think Daniel Suarez gets his second win of the season. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Till next time, everybody, Splash of Gas out.